Hey, definitely not hiding. Definitely not hiding from my life. It's, oh god. It's okay. I'm fine. Let's just, no. Hey, my husband got this beanbag. It's really big. I don't think he knew it was this big when he bought it, but it's good. Just kind of like sink into it. Why did I think this was a good idea? So I'm in a bit of a weird period in my life right now where I'm transitioning from one job to a new job, but I haven't fully quit the old job yet, so I'm still occasionally there, whilst also making sure I set aside enough time for the new job, which does require a lot of time, and also still trying to find time to work on my own stuff, my own projects, and also make sure that my career at some point will get to where I really want it to be, because the new job is not really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. It's good, it's a good job, and I enjoy it, but it's not, you know, it's not the dream. So trying to make that happen still kind of don't really know how, and it's just all a bit weird. And all of this has been making my anxiety go a little bit crazy, and I've been finding that it's also affecting my personal creativity. Like, the new job is creative in its own way, and it's really fun, and I get a lot of kind of creative control with it, but in terms of my own creativity and imagination for my own things, that seems to have gotten all a bit confuddled. It's not gone, it's just confused. And it's a bit of an odd situation because I'm really excited for the new job, and I'm very grateful to have gotten it because it's a really good job. It's a skilled job, not everyone can do it. It requires a specific skill that I apparently have, so I'm aware that I'm in a great situation, and I'm very happy about it. But I'm also kind of questioning it. I'm not questioning the job, I'm questioning me having the job, because self-doubt. Self-doubt is a thing that I have, as self-confidence. I'm not lacking in self-doubt, I have an abundance of self-doubt. I'm lacking in self-confidence, and I have lots of self-doubt. And all of that is feeding into my anxiety, which is then feeding into my tendency to overthink. Very, 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 very high tendency to overthink, so it's all kind of catching up to me, and I'm like, oh gosh. I was having a session with my therapist the other week. We were actually talking about something completely different, but in a similar vein to this, and she mentioned something called imposter syndrome. And she explained to me briefly what it means, and I was like, oh, okay, yes, that rings a bell. I'm not very good at explaining what imposter syndrome actually is. Hang on. Okay, oh, goodness gracious me! Alexa, define imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome is a concept describing high-achieving individuals who are marked by an inability to internalize their accomplishments and a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud.
Housemate bought this too. He likes to buy things. Gonna make a cup of tea while I'm here. Oh, great! So very basically, it essentially... Kettle's done. So very basically, it essentially means that I often don't think I'm good enough for the things that I do, and that in turn affects how I see myself and how I treat myself. I mean, that's my kind of interpretation and connection to the idea of imposter syndrome. Yeah, Alexa, thanks.
Anytime.
So that's the thing I've been thinking about quite a bit recently, and I just think it's interesting because I've never come across that before, but it quite accurately describes how I feel a lot of the time. I'm also one of those people who can be quite bad for self-punishment. I don't really know what else to call it, but essentially I am really terrible for beating myself up if I don't think I've done enough work that day, if I don't feel like I've achieved anything, I've had no productivity, and I just kind of internally tell myself that I am a failure and that I'm wasting my time and I'm ruining everything that I've worked for and blah 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 blah, and it's all bad. And the reason I'm talking about it is because that kind of happened to me the past 2 days. I was supposed to be working and I didn't. I just I just didn't. I just woke up with complete lack of motivation both days in a row and just didn't get anything done. And with the nature of my work and being self-employed and doing a lot of freelance work and stuff, it kind of means that I just always have work to do. Like it's just never, I never don't have work I could be doing, if that makes sense. So I was sat there very aware that I should have been doing stuff. I had editing to do, I could have filmed some videos and blah 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 blah, but I just didn't. And then I made myself feel really, really bad about it. So that was crap. Woo! Yes, soy milk. Woo! That's a little bit full. It's just a little bit full. Do not spill, do not spill, do not spill. Ah, I did it. And the past 2 days that I've kind of been wallowing around the house, not managing to do anything, making myself feel really, really bad, I had loved ones telling me that it's okay, we're all allowed to take some days off sometimes just to kind of exist, especially if we're feeling bad. You shouldn't be punished for having a bad mental health day or just feeling a bit unmotivated. Like, you're allowed to just take a day off. And I totally agree with that, which is why after a while I just gave in and let myself play Tomb Raider for a few hours. But the problem I have is that my brain never stops. It just seems to be how I'm wired. I'm always thinking, the cogs are always turning, hence why I said earlier I have a very, very high tendency to overthink. I am an overthinker. I'm the queen of overthinking, and it's exhausting having my brain. And so on days like these, when it says in my calendar it's a work day and I have in my head a list of all the things I need to get done, and then I don't do them, my brain is just like, what? No, because today is a work day. Today you have to do this, this, and this. You're not doing these things. You're not working. You are failing. You are a failure. I'm not able to flip a switch in my brain and go, no, actually, I'm not feeling good today. I'm really struggling, so I'm going to take today as a day off and I'll work tomorrow or I'll work later in the week. I can't flip that switch because my brain is already into today is a work day mode. And so then that causes the, you know, self-punishment and all that jazz. I can't seem to do that, and so my brain just continues with the relentless self-punishment, and I just feel worse and worse and worse. It's like, physically, I allow myself to have a day off, but mentally, I do not allow myself to have a day off. And so that immediately is just kind of some sort of weird, imbalanced dynamic that it's not a good result, basically. This is something that has always been a thing for me and I've always struggled with, but it's definitely gotten worse as I've gotten older. And it's only been recently that I've started to fully understand how it happens and what goes on in my brain in this situation, so that I can actually like break it down and explain it like I just did. I can break it down and understand what's happening, but yet to figure out how to stop it from happening. But I'm working on it, it's fine. So I thought I would share this realization I seem to have had and talk about this thing that happens to me very often and see if it resonates with anyone, if anyone has any advice or anything like that. Because I genuinely just think it's an interesting thing to talk about. When I first started thinking about it and breaking it down for my therapist, I was like, oh, this is weird and strange and interesting. And the human brain is a confusing thing, very complicated. It baffles me, it really does, it baffles me. So. But anyway, I hope you're all having a good week. Mine started well, and then rapidly it became less well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Now I have to try and get out of this beanbag. It's genuinely so much harder than you would think it would be. Okay. Oh gosh.